Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Movies More, and today I'm here with a few guys.
Father Daniel Sedlacek, I'm the chaplain at Aquinas High School.
Mr. Despot Ligorovich, more affectionately known as Mr. G, campus minister at Aquinas High School.
Father Timothy Reither, chaplain here at the middle school and also at St. Pat's in Alaska.
Awesome. So, thanks guys for coming on today, and just to start off, could you guys give me a quick little, we already talked about your position, but like, how did you come into your position, like being a priest and being a campus minister for Mr. G and stuff like that? You guys want to go into that?
Sure. So, long story, I guess, but not going to go into the whole thing, but long story short, God called me to become a priest, and so I was ordained a little over 8 years ago, and became a chaplain right away. I've been a chaplain at two other high schools before Aquinas High School, but been doing high school work for the last, this is my ninth school year in chaplaincy work in the high school. So came to that because Bishop said, you're going to do it. So I started doing it. Awesome. And now love it.
Awesome.
For me, it was... Again, a long story, but I started with teaching in Catholic schools. I taught sixth grade for 3 years, and I always had a passion for teaching theology, especially. And then I had the opportunity. Father Sedlacek called me up and said that Aquinas is starting a campus ministry position, and I couldn't turn it down because I would love the opportunity. And this is my second year now. And it's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I would say, with every vocation to ministry, it's a call from God, and so really what brought me into the priesthood was just learning how to listen in a sense of prayer, of just being open to whatever the Lord was guiding me towards, and I always felt that kind of attraction and peace towards becoming a priest and what a priest did, and so entered after high school, and then, once again, our assignments are determined by the bishop, and so was assigned here a year ago and ended up continuing on as a chaplain.
Awesome. So you guys, Father Reither and Father Sedlacek, have a rivalry that kind of goes back to last year, the last few years here at Aquinas and on the Campus Ministry Instagram page. Can you guys talk a little bit about how that started?
First off, just want to make it clear, Sedlacek. It's hard. You said Sedlacek.
Oh.
So slight, but
Send
so
a check.
wrong.
But he's very sensitive.
Or if all of our listeners and everyone at Aquinas, they usually just say Father Sed, just because, just it's easier.
Okay.
But it's hard. I understand. But rivalry, I don't think. In order there to be a rivalry, there has to be like an equality of the rivals, and there really isn't that. So I don't know if that's really an accurate description of what happens.
This rivalry, many of you don't know that both me and Father Sedlacek, we grew up together.
Really?
In the North Woods of the diocese. So we knew each other well before either of us became priests, and that's where the rivalry came. But as you say, the bigger they are, the bigger they fall. So it was all pretty clear after last year's sumo match where the rivalry stood.
Father Reither ended that. Father Sed's still trying to come back from that, but I don't think he can.
This is I don't like where this conversation is going. I think it's slanderous. Yeah,
that victorious was huge.
Feel free to raise the right flag anytime you'd like.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a great humility and just simply allowing, especially younger people to feel like that they can do things. Father Reither was feeling a little bit insecure, so I wanted to give him a little boost in his morale, so just let him. No, I didn't let him win. I think a lot of students thought I let him win, but that's not true. I just didn't train because I figured that I was gonna just destroy him. So
you posted on your Instagram you training like multiple times.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you were training.
Yeah, that lasted about how long was that reel? About 30 seconds. That was my training. Yeah,
we cut out about several hours of footage there.
Speaking of, just a shameless plug here, make sure you follow us at Aquinas Campus Ministry on Instagram. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Do that, too.
Yeah, follow us.
So you can see the beef get bigger.
Yeah, but it was great. I mean, that was a great event because, I mean, the goal of it was really to help other people. So really to fundraise and to raise awareness for Casa Hogar. So we're really excited about what we were able to do with that. Helping out our so Casa Hogar is an orphanage down in Peru that our diocese supports, and we're really excited that we're going to be leading a group of high school students down there this coming July. So if you're interested in that, also follow us.
Yeah, follow them. Yeah, I heard about that and I was like, whoa, that would be really cool. But I don't know if because going into college and less time and stuff like that, but I feel like that would be really like a good adventure and cool thing to go on.
Yeah, you get to go with all three of us, and Father Reither is fluent in Spanish. So
Are you really?
Sí, señor.
So convincing.
Convincing. Yeah. So this is a movie podcast, and is there like any Catholic or Christian movies that you guys have liked over the years, or like you grew up with, or anything like that?
I think in a general sense, there are movies. I kind of have in my head like two categories of movies. There's like movies that are made like explicitly to be like a Christian movie or a Catholic movie, and then there are movies that are made just to be good movies to tell stories. And I think pretty much any movie, whether kind of poorly done or well done, in telling a story, that there's always something that our Catholic faith can glean from it, either kind of positive or negative. Sort of like if there's a story that's kind of going actively against Christian values or Catholic understanding of things, but you can learn something from that. Sort of like, this is kind of going along these lines, but our Catholic faith would say something very different. Or movies that maybe they're not explicitly Catholic or Christian, but they have, because that they're saying something that's true to the human heart, something that's true to the human experience, something that's true to reality. Like our Catholic faith totally can connect immediately to that. So I don't know if you have any other opinions about that, you guys, but that's kind of how I look at movies and stories in general.
Yeah, I know you guys, both you fathers, you often use movie examples or like TV show examples in your guys' homilies. I think that's really cool, and like it's good. I like that.
Kung Fu Panda, very very Christian movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say perhaps I try to use different videos or stuff in homilies. Like the last one I did was The Lord of the Rings. I brought it up as like, let me talk about the Lord of the Rings. There's, the hobbits, short people with hairy feet, and, they're going to destroy the ring in Mordor and all of that. And then I was like, and then I pause and say, now look out over the crowd, and I see half of the people like smiling vigorously, like this is the greatest thing ever. And the other half is like, why is this priest talking about the Lord of the Rings? But what it really comes down to is understanding the key behind the story. If you understand like the deeper meaning behind it, because you can watch Lord of the Rings and say, oh, it's a bunch of cool fantasy stuff. But if you understand what Tolkien was doing, like writing that Christian mythology inside of his story there, it opens up a whole new window. And that's why people, I think, tend to geek out so much about the Lord of the Rings, because they see that deeper meaning. Whereas if you don't have that key, it's just like, well, it's a cool story, but what else does it have to say?
And I think just kind of piggybacking off that is, I mean, if you look at the story of Jesus Christ, right, of just Christianity in general, it's the greatest love story ever told, and I think it's a
Besides
model
Rocky.
that besides Rocky, but it's a model that can be followed pretty well, and I think it's been used over and over again. So one of the things that I like to do is not necessarily, if a movie's not explicitly saying like, oh, it has all these Christian undertones to it or themes to it, but I like to watch movies and try to find ways that I can weave it into that story, right? That ultimate love story. Movies like Avatar or stuff like that, right? That it's not necessarily hidden because it might not even be there, but I just try to find it and just kind of have fun with that.
Yeah, so based off what Father Reither was saying about like Lord of the Rings, before we even started this podcast, there was already a debate going on about the three biggest few franchises in the in like the movies that also relate to Jesus and God and the Bible and all that. It's Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings versus Star Wars.
Yep.
Like, what do you guys? Which one of those three do you guys enjoy the most to watch? Which one do you think is the most related? Which one do you think is just like your favorite or best? Or
Should we say it on three?
Yeah. So I guess if we were like to rank them in some sort of ranking, it would be something like, for me, it would be like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Harry Potter. But yeah, it just depends on what aspects you're talking about. Lord of the Rings, I think, is just better story all in all. But a lot of disagreement there. But I think it's the better story overall. But I see where people have challenges with it because it's big. It's big and seemingly has a lot of details that are not like super exciting to it. But that if I look at Lord of the Rings as like really a character sort of book in which you're really looking at the characters and how those characters interact with each other, and they're all kind of in and of themselves their own character is kind of saying something about each of that's something in each side inside of each one of us. So different characters like Aragorn or Frodo or Gandalf. Like there's different aspects that they bring that are kind of characteristics of each person or something that's inside every one of us, or at least a desire in every one of us. And I think, again, it's a good story because you can talk about how it has these Christian themes, but Tolkien didn't really explicitly, I don't think, wrote it to be like a Christian book. He's like, I'm going to tell this really good story that talks about reality. And so we can see all these things, aspects of ourselves and of reality of the human heart within the characters. Struggle against good and evil, struggle against temptation. You see difficulties in relationships and friendships, power, the dynamics of power, abuse of power, a good use of power, all these different big themes that all of us think about and struggle with are woven masterfully throughout the story. So that's why I kind of think that's why it's my number one. But you see those things in like Star Wars and Harry Potter too, which makes them great stories. Like that's why we love them.
yeah, me personally though, I think I out of the three options, I probably enjoy probably Star Wars the most because the cool lightsaber battles and stuff.
Just to clarify, for the record, when we talk about Lord of the Rings, we're talking about the original trilogy, right? We're not talking about The Hobbit or, God forbid, The Rings of Power series.
Yeah, we're not.
Right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Lord of the Rings. It's
Right,
a specific
like the original
trilogy story. Yeah,
three.
Yeah.
Okay,
Three books and then three movies.
Likewise with Star Wars as well. Nothing that Disney made is worthy of mention.
So I think Star Wars you have to include like all 9 episodes. Right?
No, you don't.
No. You
No,
stop
we're talking
at
about the
6,
original trilogy?
1 through 6, and that's the end.
Oh,
okay,
well,
but if you
that's,
go 1 through 3, it's not going to compare to Lord of the Rings. You can't compare Phantom Menace to Fellowship of the
You
Ring.
can't compare Phantom Menace to anything.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's terrible.
Phantom Menace is just a glorified story about some slave trader. I mean, that's really what it is.
I was thinking
that's
like
the whole book of Exodus, is it not?
That's fair.
what?
The Hope of the Exodus. Yeah.
Yeah, the Exodus, the Bible, the people of Israel were slaves, and then they were set free.
All I
There it
remember
is.
about episode 1 is midichlorians. That's all I remember.
Episode 1.
truthfully.
I remember the pod racing. That was definitely the coolest part. But
And pod racing, yeah, and pod
I
racing.
feel like the
yeah.
rest of the movie's pretty boring.
There is a question of whether Anakin Skywalker is a reference to the Immaculate Conception.
Yes.
What?
He
Right,
is.
that's
He
true.
was conceived by the
There's
midichlorians.
Yes.
Right, yeah,
he
that's right.
He didn't have a dad.
He didn't have a physical
the
father.
Force.
Oh.
The Force did it.
So yeah, you see all these different things that
But are they saying Jesus is bad then? Because doesn't Anakin Skywalker become the worst guy in the
Well, no,
Well,
but
see-
he is the chosen one,
So-
right? He is the chosen one that does bring down the Sith in
Anakin
the
and
end.
Frodo are basically the same character.
Yeah, but Frodo doesn't
you
become a
think
bad
about it-
person. Frodo
No,
doesn't become a murderer.
Frodo at the very end, he failed in his mission because Gollum is the one that ultimately chewed off his finger and fell in the lava. So it's like at the very end, Frodo.
I would say that they're not the same
kind of
character
failed.
then.
Yeah, I don't
But
think
came
Anakin
back.
Because
actually,
Anakin did fulfill his mission.
Yeah, he
I
did.
think.
I don't think he failed his mission. His mission was
Anakin?
Yeah, I mean, his mission was never to be the chosen one, right? He was the chosen one, but that wasn't his mission. Whereas Frodo's mission was to rid the world of the ring, right, and the darkness of it. That's why in Phantom Menace, famously when Qui-Gon Jinn fights and Obi-Wan Kenobi fight with Darth Maul, the song that plays is "Duel of the Fates," and it's actually.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
And it's kind of cool because if you think about it, it really is a duel of the fates, because if Qui-Gon Jinn survives, then he would continue his mission of taking on Anakin as a Padawan, and his entire story could be completely different. But what happens is Obi-Wan lives, right? Qui-Gon Jinn dies, so now Obi-Wan, who's this inexperienced
Padawan.
Jedi, right, who now has to take on a young boy in Anakin, then his path is completely different, right? Whereas he was supposed to be the Qui-Gon Jinn, right? But now he ended up with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then ultimately, right, we know how that story ends.
So if like Qui-Gon Jinn never actually died, then Obi-Wan, I mean,
And reincarnates as Jar Jar Binks. No, we're getting into the weeds here. Yeah.
but then Anakin would be a good guy then? Well, he would stay a good guy.
Yeah, he could have fulfilled it. That's why it's a duel of the fates, right? Because it was the fate of Anakin.
Yeah, because I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but like when Qui-Gon Jinn died, Anakin started looking up to the Emperor, who was like showed him all the power he could have if he was a bad guy. But if Qui-Gon was still around, Qui-Gon would show Anakin all the power of the Jedi, not the Sith.
Right, I mean, because if you think about it, Darth Maul was kind of in this the exact same position as Obi-Wan Kenobi at that time, right? This younger apprentice, whereas it was meant to be, Anakin was meant to look up to a Qui-Gon Jinn, who was the one that taught Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And so I think he kind of paternally went and latched on to the Emperor because of that, right? Because that was Darth Maul's master, and henceforth that's why he ultimately decided to follow him.
Wow, I never actually thought about it like that before. I feel like, jeez.
What's interesting about all three of these, I think, of why they appeal to us, is because they all have the sense of like good versus evil, but they all the main characters, like the main drama of all that drives all of them, the sense of like salvation, like being saved from something, saved from destruction, saved from totalitarian galactic empire sort of thing. We're being saved from Voldemort taking over our high school or whatever, So there's a real drama there that I think intuitively everybody, whether or not they are Christian or believe in Christ or subscribe to that, there's something compelling about that storyline.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I think just to add to that, going back to the whole, greatest love story ever told,
Rocky.
I think there's a reason. Well, even in Rocky, feels this is whenever we watch a movie that has like just a terrible ending, right? Like the good guy doesn't win, or
Like Infinity War.
Yeah, right.
Where everyone dies.
Where everyone dies, right? It's you leave the movie theater after watching that, and you're like, I don't feel great, right? Like I don't feel amazing. Like I didn't love how that ended, right? Well, but it's because it is kind of deeply rooted in reality. I mean, we are meant to end happily, right? Like our ending, our destiny is to be in heaven. And so it is against our nature when we see something that is disordered when it ends in a way that we're not meant to end, right? That it kind of rattles us. It makes us feel weird. That's why these endings can just really unsettle you, right? Because we're all meant to have this happy ending of being in heaven.
When you look at, just going back to comparing the main characters, Harry Potter, Frodo, and Anakin Skywalker. All three of them, like, each one kind of, in a sense, had their weakness to go along with. And, like, Frodo, when he gets to the end, doesn't complete his mission, in a sense. Well, in a sense, as Tolkien later describes it, he did complete his mission because he gave the last ounce of his strength that was humanly possible.
Right, and his mission was to get the ring to Mount Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never to destroy it. It was just to get it there.
I mean...
And then when you look at
This
Anakin
can be debate
Skywalker, he's like, yeah, he was supposed to bring balance to the Force, and he killed how many people with his...
He did bring balance
He
to the
did
Force.
bring balance to
At the
the
very
Force.
end. At the very end, he threw it off, through Darth Sidious.
I would even argue as Darth Vader, he brought...
Yeah, because when he went to the dark side, Luke went to the light side.
Mm-hmm.
So it does even out. So he did bring balance to the Force. So he was the chosen one. He was, oh my goodness, I'm
And
getting chills.
All three of these guys were chosen.
Right.
Like, when you think about it, like, each one had their chosen role. And, like, Harry Potter's weakness is he became, like, the Horcrux for Voldemort.
Mhm.
And that was kind of something to...
Oh, spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler, yeah. If you haven't watched these videos, please do.
They're good movies. Good movies.
But just the whole idea of, like, human beings, like, we don't have it all. Each of us are chosen. We spoke at the top. Each one of us felt called to enter into this ministry, enter into the Christian life. And we do that with our weaknesses. Kind of how Christ became weak to die on the cross. Kind of showed us the path forward. And that's probably why these stories hit us more deeply than perhaps like a Superman story. And that's why I think the Justice League fails so much, is because none of their characters seem to have, at least, in theory, like, Superman doesn't really have a great weakness.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, he does, but in reality, when he's doing all these stuff, it doesn't really show in his humanity. Whereas these other stories, they really delve into humanity as overcoming that weakness.
I would argue that Superman's greatest weakness is Zack Snyder, but that's just me.
Or magic, or kryptonite. That's, yeah.
We
Zack
might have
Snyder
to-
is such a bad... He doesn't understand Superman.
We might have to throw another one into the mix here, but that might be a conversation for another time. The Dune trilogy.
It's currently not finished.
Correct.
I want to watch it, but I
another
haven't
time.
yet.
If anyone understands Dune, I don't know. I had
Isn't-
to watch the second one in Spanish, and it didn't. Nothing made sense.
I thought you were fluent.
Yeah, even in my level of fluency, the Dune is still a mystery.
See.
Si, senor.
But I actually need to watch those movies. I've heard nothing but great things about those movies. Nothing.
They're well done, yeah. Well done movies for sure.
I have you guys read the books, or are you the
Yes.
first time encountering it? Is the
Yeah,
movies?
first two books I've read, yeah.
Did you read them after the movie or before the movie?
Before.
Before.
That's the way to do it.
to get
always.
ready for the movie, or like
Yeah.
So like you heard the first Dune was coming out, you're like, oh, that looks good. So you read the book and then you watched the movie.
I think I read the first Dune before I knew about the movie coming out. But then when I heard about the movies coming out, then I wanted to read the second book in that series to prepare, because I heard that the trilogy would be foraying into the second book. So I'm like, okay, I want to read that second book then before the movies come out.
Have you read the third one?
I've not read the third one yet, no.
Do you recommend reading the books?
I did enjoy Dune, the first one, which is called Dune. Dune Messiah was that was a tough read. That was a tough read. It gets dark really fast.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
it does.
Like
the
the
story takes a
movie,
big turn.
or
Yeah.
Does the movie get dark pretty fast too? Then in the
The
second
first
one?
two movies encompass the first book. And then the third movie that's coming up in a couple years will be in the second book. Will be the story of the second book.
Oh, nice.
Would you say that Dune has a Catholic worldview?
No, I would say not. But yet, I think our Catholic and Christian faith can glean things from it.
Like how bad the world is?
I think Frank Herbert, he wrote the books pretty much because he was very cynical and skeptical of religion as a whole. So that is seeped in through the whole story. So, yeah. So, yes.
You know, just talking about this, I just had another thought, kind of giving credit to Star Wars now on why it actually might be the most impressive out of these options is because the other two, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, and even Dune, had a literary beginning, right? They all started with books and then were adapted into the films, whereas Star Wars was just out of the mind of George Lucas, right? He just kind of adapted it himself. He didn't have a book series from famous authors to kind of go off of.
Does anyone know if like George Lucas was like a Catholic or like a Christian or anything, or was he just like the story called to him, or like I don't know?
We better put our fact checkers on that.
Because I feel like the way that he wrote the story is like there's no way he did it like without knowing that it is hand in hand with the Bible. And like
this would be a great question and podcast for Mr. Mike Schramm. He has a lot to say about things like this.
He would be a good guest.
All right, according to the AI people, George Lucas described his religion as a Buddhist Methodist.
Oh.
So I think, not Catholic.
And in 1999, he said, let's just say I'm spiritual.
Mm-hmm. But it is interesting. Like, is Jar Jar Binks a Moses-type character?
How would he be?
I mean, he kind of frees his people, right?
Yep.
Doesn't speak very well, right? But acts, right? He kind of has other people speak for him, just like Moses, right? Moses didn't really speak very well. Aaron had to speak for him, right? But he came and freed his people.
Yeah, but people liked Moses.
Oh yeah, people liked him.
Not Jar Jar.
Also,
Jar
Jar Jar
did
Binks
not like
is
him.
a little.
The Jewish people did not like Moses at many
really?
times. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They got very upset, right?
They're going to kill him multiple times. Yeah.
Maybe they made Jar Jar terrible on purpose. Then, because
hot take: Father actually doesn't hate Jar Jar Binks.
Father said or Father Reither?
Father said, yeah.
Really?
Me, yeah. I don't hate him. Most people hate that character.
He's kind of annoying.
He's confused.
He's there for the comedic relief, but
he's in number 3 too. Does anyone know that?
The third?
Yeah.
Third what?
He's
Star
in
Wars?
the third Star Wars movie, like the Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's the one that gave
Yeah.
emergency immediate powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's him. And then,
Yep, he proposed it.
did you guys read the Harry Potter books?
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Show of hands, who read the Harry Potter books? All right, we're all
Everyone can
raising our
see it.
hands.
Everyone's raising
well,
their hands.
I read the first half of the series, and then I got my driver's license. So
But you can't read
So you
anymore
can't read anymore?
while you drive?
I
Just
I would
lost
just
lost your ability to read.
I would prefer to drive, and like I don't like.
I
Wait,
I
so
think
you
the books,
used to read your books while somebody else drove you? Is that
No,
what
I
you're
would
saying?
I would like just read like when I didn't have anything to do. But now that I have a car and I can drive, I have never.
One word: Audible.
I
Shout out
have.
to Audible.
I've tried them.
yeah, I would encourage you to finish the series because I think actually the last book is my favorite in Harry Potter. So consider that.
I like the number 4.
Was that the last one you read?
Yeah,
Goblet of
the
Fire.
Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire?
I like
That's
that
a good
one.
one.
It's pretty fun.
Hard to say which one's my favorite. I'm trying to think. Number 3 is what? That's Prisoner Azkaban. Is that right? That one's
That
pretty,
is with the werewolf.
That's a good one. Yeah, and then 5.
Okay.
Book 5 is good too.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for coming on. It was fun. Good chat. Where can they find you? Like,
Most days in the campus ministry office.
okay. Then that Campus Mystery online.
On Instagram?
Instagram, yeah.
On Instagram is going to be at Aquinas Campus Ministry, or Facebook. If you're old, you can look us up there, Aquinas Campus Ministry, or you can email us.
Yeah. Okay.
Aquinas emails.
Yep. And just a quick shout out. We do have, if you're a junior or senior that's interested in going on our Kairos retreat, we put on 2 of them every year. We have one coming up in December 5th to the 8th. It's going to be a blast. It's not like any retreat that you've ever been on. It's not like a class retreat.
It is fun.
And then the other one is in March, right? So late March.
I'll be there at the December one.
That's right.
It'll be fun. So yeah, thanks guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leo.
Thanks for listening. Have a good day.